What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Underdog Theology, the podcast that's sometimes a thing and sometimes just not. And you never know. You never know what's going to happen. That's why you got to sub. You got to sub so you get and put the notification thing on, because I might actually do a show. I might actually do something. Isn't that nuts? I feel like I have this shot made, and now I'm like, I think I'm too far away. That feels right. That feels good. Will it mess up other things? Probably. What are you guys up to today? You guys just having fun? Like you guys good? You guys having a good start to your week? I hope you're doing well, because I'm a little on edge, all right? Because here's the deal. I've been around the internet for a very long time, like early days where we took 25 minutes for a 3-minute flash video to load. All right, where we heard the gurgly sounds of the internet calling our name, letting us know, like, it is welcome. Like, come inside the internet. There's an MSN Messenger chat waiting for you. And I've been around a while, and so I've been on X for a long time. Back in the day, we used to call it Twitter, and it was a beautiful thing. I don't know why I sounded like so Trumpy in there for a second, but I kind of did. You heard it, right? Well, anyways, I remember when the elephant room was a thing, and everyone was talking about it. Like, I was there. I don't need threads about it. I don't need historical documentation about the elephant room that everybody needs to know. I have a lot of thoughts about today. So that is why I wanted to go live and have a good time with you guys and talk about how dumb it is that the elephant room is still looked at with like this sense of fondness. And now there's talk of another one. To quote DJ Khaled, another one. That's what they want. They want another elephant room. And it's just insane to me. And there's lots that goes into this. We'll have a good time discussing it. We got a thread we're going to dive through. It's going to be a great old time. But first, I want to say hi to my people and say hi to Skeletal Remains. He's got a question. Oh, we have crowns to fight over now? Yeah, it's a thing. It's a pretty cool thing, actually. Like if you go onto YouTube. What? You're on YouTube right now because you're watching. I'm like on the back end of my stuff, so I'm not on YouTube. But if you're watching this, you can look at the chat, and there's like crowns now, and you get to know like who's the best. Like, yeah, it's probably about like just the sheer amount of interaction stuff, but to me, it's actually who is best. Like, it's not just they're helping out the channel. No, who's the best human being? That's what it's going to tell us today. YouTube, with all their algorithms and their AI-ness and their math and their numbers, they figured out how to tell who's the best person who is active in the chat. And so if you go in there, you might be it. You might be it. You might get a crown or tiara. Queens wear crowns, right? I don't know. He also says, howdy, folks. Hope you're all doing great. I'm doing pretty good. My throat's still destroyed, but, it'll get there. The bagels, I had one this morning. Dean is giving the people what they want. No, really. Glad you're responding to this. Kind of. Like, I hear you guys. You guys want more streams. And this, I thought, was at least worthy of our attention today. A lot of stuff going on, and evangelicalism just looks like just bananas to me. You could watch like the other stream that I did the other day and wade through like the 2 hours of random conversation. And somewhere in there, I talk about how there's not a lot to talk about that I feel like is worthy of our attention. But this one I feel like it is, because there's a lot that actually goes into it. Mark is here. It says 2 Underdog Theology streams within 5 days of each other. After an extended absence, we are not worthy of such divine gifts. Yes, the Lord gives and the Lord takes away. But blessed be the name of the Lord. Boy, people are bashing John MacArthur. They should leave them alone in their mourning. Yeah. We talked about that the other day. There's a lot that goes into that. If you want my thoughts on that, you can go check out the other stream. So excited for another stream so soon after the last. What's up, Mrs. Creole? Hope you're doing well. Heidi is here telling everybody, hey, be active. Let's have conversations. I want to know your thoughts. Let me know. I'll get around to it. Like in the chat, I'll get down to it. But let me know if you actually watched The Elephant Room back in the day and what you thought of the original Elephant Room. Not number 2, because number 2 was just a big old fire festival. It was just like that one. There's a reason why there wasn't a third one, and there shouldn't be. But the first one, I want to know your actual thoughts. Before you hear mine, I want to hear your actual thoughts about like what you remember from it, or if you just vaguely know, let me know that too. I'd be interested to find out. Pam, I just finished your latest video. Pam's got some videos. I'll have to go back and comment after we're finished so that I'm not accidentally late if I leave and come back. You know what? That's fine. Usually I'm like, you cannot leave this stream. You got to be in this stream, and then after, you can go and check out the other stuff. If it's Pam, I'm okay with it. If you want to bail on this for a bit and go watch Pam's videos, I'm all right with it. I'm not saying it's great, but I'm okay with it. It'll at least be, I think, worth your time. Pam's awesome. And I wonder who is going to be the next pastor at Grace Community. His memorial service is on August 23rd. That's a long ways away. That is so far. What is that, like a full-on month? That's more than a month. Dang. That must, like, they're having a family one and then probably a public one, I'm assuming. R&B Studios, sup boy, That's so dumb. And more talking about the fights that are going on to see who's the best person alive in the chat. Secundum says, you really want another Elephant Room to be honest. Actually, no, I really, really don't. And I'm really weirded out, to be honest, about how anyone could look at the last, especially the last one, but the first one, and be like, this was great. I loved it. Nothing, no critiques, no comments, no issues. Let's have another one. That would be nice. Yeah. And then you get to just watch this. And then you're waiting around for 2 weeks at a time, waiting for me to stream, apparently. God Explorer, still exploring. Greetings and sanitations. Sanitations? Or salutations? Greetings and sanitations. Clean up your act, guys. I guess I'm old, but what is with the crowns? There you go. I've explained it, I think. Probably. That's because we were referencing Seven Brides for Seven Brothers on X, because that's what the kids do. They talk about musicals from the 60s, 70s, 70s. I don't know. The Elephant Room to decide who the next evangelical pope is going to be. I think we are in the dark ages. I don't think there will be one. It's too divided now. I don't think there's going to be one guy. Probably not. Set and vibe look cool, Dean. What does the skull fall? When does the skull fall? It's over there. It's over there. I can't reach it on my arms. I got a big head and little arms. I don't think this plan was well thought through. All right, think of all the content. Oh, I'm sure. Dude, there's going to be... Let's get into it. All right, let's go. Let's take a look at this thing. All right, so how did this whole conversation start? Why are we talking about this thing from 2011? Well, it is because of this guy right here. All right, Josh Barzon. Okay. This guy who made the G3 logo and is slowly making a name for himself in these quasi-reformed-ish, weird world. This guy was a former fundamentalist, if I'm remembering it right, to the point where they were KJV only, and he wrote this little book on the King James only position, and started trying to promote himself that way, as like that's his niche. Might have been a YouTube channel attached to that, maybe. I remember one of my buddies interviewing him for that book. Like, so he's been around for a couple years, but young guy. Obviously trying to do the graphic design stuff now, and doing a good job with that G3 logo. Looked pretty good. But he is now doing like these threads, and I talked about this on my stream toward the beginning of the last stream that I did about the John MacArthur thing. I get a little grossed out when I see people trying to get clicks off of someone dying, someone passing away, some hardship, like, and it's not even just in the Christian world. I see this all over just social media, where someone passes, and instead of just being like, here are some of my thoughts, like, this is how I'm feeling about this. This is like very, very like focused, almost like news kind of posts of like, here's the top 10 things you need to know about John MacArthur, like that kind of stuff. And he did that the other day, and I was like, really? And then I noticed, because I don't follow him, but then I noticed that he does that a lot, of like these threads where he's trying to, I don't know, I guess the word would be educate people on something, some moment in Christianity or modern Christianity, more, that's more of his focus. But then I saw this because there was a bunch of people interacting with it. And, let's just read for a little bit. So, the rise and fall of the elephant room. Oh boy. In 2011, 7 high profile pastors gathered for an unscripted roundtable called Elephant Room, or the elephant room. I don't know. Maybe that's just too many characters for this post. It promised raw dialogue on church theology and ministry, but instead sparked a controversy that reshaped the future of evangelicalism. I'm going to take some issues right there. It didn't do a dang thing. Like, I'm going to show my cards. Like, well, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this thing here. But I'm going to show my cards and say, I don't think that this thing really made all that much of a difference. There were people talking about it online for sure. There were blog posts that were written about it. And obviously, like the fact that you can say the elephant room. And even though if you Google the elephant room, there's like 1,000 different like restaurants, and like it's a thing. But if you talk about it amongst Christians, a lot of younger theology nerds are going to know exactly what you're talking about. So like there's a difference though between like having an impact and reshaping the future of evangelicalism. And this is where I start immediately being like, okay, a couple things to point out, right? Like there's this guy who was in fundamentalism and like deep, like, like I was in fundy circles, but like we still like we're all about John MacArthur. My pastor was a Calvinist, like there's 1 foot in fundy world, 1 foot in the reformed world. And I grew up in the shadow of Mars Hill, had friends that were very close to the Driscolls. So like it was, like I'm in that world. I knew about what was going on. Also, in 2011, I was a pastor. That was like my first year in ministry. 2011, I think this guy's like I'm guessing 6 to 10 years younger than me. So we're talking about like he probably wasn't around for this, or at least not paying attention to this stuff, or so deep in fundy world that he wouldn't know what was going on. So this is probably someone who watched maybe Ruslan's videos, or watched the Elephant Room on YouTube, and trying to make a name for himself now off of this, or at least part of it, adding it to his repertoire of these like historical kind of moments and like whatever. But to say that like sparking a controversy for sure, just because people were talking about it, but reshaping the future of evangelicalism, you can't say that. Like this thing didn't have any impact. It was entertainment. This was long before Christian YouTube. This was long before a lot of the things that we have now of podcasts being more prevalent. We had podcasts, but it wasn't quite the same in 2011. This was an event, and celebrities being used as, basically an opportunity for James McDonald to make money. That's what this was. And it didn't have an impact. It really didn't. Other than getting people, some people mad and some people talking about it. But reshaping the future of evangelicalism is a really big statement to say, and without anything to base it off of. And again, this is just like, were you even around for this? I don't really think so. I could be wrong, but so let's just go through. We'll read it and we'll kind of go through it together. So, what was the elephant room? In early 2011, an influential pastor named James McDonald, like he'll go into like where James McDonald like ended up, but you could just look at julieroys.com and see a lot. He launched the Elephant Room, a roundtable style event where well-known evangelical pastors tackled controversial topics in ministry. Framed as an honest, unscripted space for gospel-centered dialogue, it promised clarity through conversation, gospel men having gospel conversation, as McDonald put it. But beneath the surface, it stirred deep concerns. Could public unity be maintained without theological clarity? Could platform personalities confront error without falling into it? Yeah, kind of. Like, so far, okay. That's like, it was an event. Like, you had to buy tickets to stream it. You could then buy it on DVD. There was merch. There were locations that you could go to and stream it. Like it was very much a money making thing, and it was like put on as like almost like a game show. And some of it is on YouTube, so you could go and you can watch it if you've never seen it. But it was very much in like the who's going to be like who wants to be a millionaire kind of, like there's like a crowd and they're all watching these people on the stage, high production value. But what it was a publicity stunt of getting celebrities together, pastor celebrities, or celebrity pastors, as they might want to be known, and getting them together to make money and have these conversations. But, let's make sure that we're aware. Look at these guys. If you were going to choose theological, like if it was really about hammering out theology, who on this at this table are the people that you're like, oh, I really think like this guy, he knows what he's talking about when it comes to theology? Who at this table, right? Like none of these guys are like the scholars. But what they are celebrity pastors, so they can sell the tickets. It's not about theological clarity, other than getting the people that have the biggest following to argue on a platform. I don't know if these guys watched movie fights, but it seemed very much like, even back in the day, I remember thinking, did someone watch movie fights and then come up with this idea of having like basically theology fights? Like, but I don't know, maybe. So what set the stage for the Elephant Room? By 2011, an evangelicalism was under strain. The seeker-sensitive movement had built massive churches, but left many questioning theological substance. At the same time, the rise of New Calvinism brought renewed focus on gospel centrality. So you can kind of see where the writer here, Josh Barzon, he is, it's probably just Barzon, but I just want to say it fancy. But you can probably see where he lines up. I'm assuming Like I don't know much about this guy, but just like I'm assuming, kind of reformed. Brought renewed focus on gospel centrality, yet it remained fragmented and was still sorting out its convictions on ministry models, cultural engagement, and church practice. Debates over multi site strategies, prosperity theology, emotionalism, church discipline, cultural relevance, and the rise of celebrity pastors were heating up. Yeah, because anyone at that table was going to have an honest conversation about celebrity pastors and whether it's good or not. Like, and wouldn't be biased. Like, come on. A new generation of leaders was being shaped more by conference stages and YouTube clips than by creeds, confessions, or historical ecclesiology. 100% agree with that part. The Elephant Room emerged in that moment, an ambitious attempt to unify these competing visions under one roof. I think that's giving a lot of charity to these guys. Um, it, that's not what it was. Like, and if you watch it, you could tell it's not what it was, because James McDonald even like act like not just a referee, like, and like not a moderator, an insider. Like if you watch these clips, it's very much like, where's the drama, and finding the drama in these debates. And you would see like even moments where people would be like, yeah, I could see where you're talking about. And then James McDonald would come in and be like, but this is what he means. And he would like blow it up more. And like, why? Because that means more views. That means more money. Like, I think it's very charitable to say that that's what this was about, an ambitious attempt to unify these competing visions under one roof. I think it was more about, basically commercialism, of just trying to make money off of these things. So, who was involved in the Elephant Room 2011? The event featured James McDonald, Harvest Bible Chapel. Not so much anymore. The host and central personality, Mark Driscoll, Marcel, co moderator, culturally brash voice. Okay. Let's. Okay. Matt Chandler, the Village Church, thoughtful reform voice. So you can see what he thinks of some of these people. Stephen Furtick, young, charismatic, and pragmatic. Perry Noble, edgy, growth driven communicator. Let's remember that Perry Noble was SBC. He was actually looked at as a pretty conservative guy, even though, he was I guess edgy was okay. Greg Laurie, classic evangelist. I'll talk more about him later. David Platt, missions driven theological pastor. The room was a theological powder keg and the fuse was already lit. Oh, look at him. This, just make a YouTube video, guy. Like this. Okay. What was discussed? Elephant Room 2011 tackled 5 key ministry tensions. Fights is what it was. It was just fights. Church growth. Furtick and Noble defended pragmatic growth strategies. Chandler and Platt cautioned against shallow metrics. Even though they all did the same thing. Like, it's Noble, yeah, sure. Like, even he puts the use of highway to hell sparked a memorable rebuke from Chandler, highlighting the divide over using secular culture in worship. But they all did it. Like, they didn't use secular stuff, but like the whole, like, they all look the same. If you were to walk into any one of these churches and wait until like the pastor started preaching, it would feel like the exact same church. So the idea that Matt Chandler and David Platt getting up and being like, no, this is what you need to focus on, it's like, you guys are all doing the same thing. But I will say, I did go to New Spring once, and heard maybe the best live version of I Believe in a Thing Called Love. I was so impressed. Like, that guy, like, that's a hard song. Like, my throat's all destroyed, but yeah. I believe in a thing called love. Like, that's it's a really hard song to sing. The guy nailed it. It was phenomenal. Felt the bass in my chest. Probably don't want that at a church service, though. Multi-site models. Driscoll and McDonald praised video preaching. Platt questioned its impact on shepherding. But then Platt has, rooms where, oh, you didn't make it into the service, so you're on a screen. It's the same thing. Evangelicalism versus discipleship. Driscoll pressed Platt on balancing gospel proclamation with justice and missions is the thing that probably people remember the most of, like the goldfish thing and taking away the goldfish, the snacks from the kids. And Driscoll said some pretty outrageous stuff about that. Which your kids and your children's services can have snacks, and if you're not doing that, like, it's not like the missionaries are going to be that hurt because you have goldfish for Sunday school. Doctrinal boundaries. While all were called gospel men, little theological clarity was required. Furtick and Noble faced few challenges. Chandler and Platt appeared uneasy. Okay. Though framed as candid dialogue, the discussions revealed a preference for platform unity over doctrinal clarity, leaving many unresolved tensions and exposed. So, did that reshape evangelicalism forever? You're even saying it in this thing, guy. Like it didn't matter because there weren't actually deep conversations. It was just talking points and people getting, like saying things loud and using illustrations that people could remember because that's all these guys are capable of. All right, but let's keep on going. Public critique afterward. John MacArthur condemned the Elephant Room for confusing doctrinal boundaries. He wrote the blurred lines between sound doctrine and serious error. Yeah, obviously. Like, of course he would not be okay with it. Vodi Bakum also refused to participate, probably just in that one, and the second one, I guess. But it would be very interesting to see if he would go for a third one, seeing that he's on Glenn Beck all the time. But citing concerns over theological compromise, but then he goes and hangs out with the Mormon guy. In the validation of prosperity teachers, note, I believe this was for the second Elephant Room, which will be discussed later. Okay. Carl Truman and Tabiti Anabile added thoughtful critiques, warning that the desire for unity must never override gospel fidelity. Yeah, and then I think who else was? Oh, it was Crawford. Who was that? The other one. Never mind. Yeah, Colton, you ain't wrong, bro. You ain't wrong. It was super cringe. Many believe the Elephant Room set a dangerous precedent for platforming error under the banner of conversation. So, like, I hope that you get to see, like, it's pretty clear that this author, as he's writing it, is saying this wasn't good, right? Like that it wasn't good. It was influential. It reshaped evangelicalism forever or whatever, but it wasn't a good thing. Note that. Jot that down. Like that'll be important in a minute. Where are they now? Most Elephant Room 1 speakers saw major shifts after 2011. Yeah. James MacDonald was fired in 2019 for bullying, deception, and financial abuse, now largely sidelined. Also, beating a 60-year-old woman who he thought took his parking spot. So there's that. Mark Driscoll resigned in 2014 amid Mars Hill collapse due to spiritual abuse claims, misogyny, and all kinds of things. Now pastors a smaller church in Arizona and has a huge following online. This is like AI. Matt Chandler remained respected, but took a brief leave in 2022 over unwise DMs. Still leads the village church. And once again, I don't care who gets mad at me for saying it. The fact that we will never know actually what was said with that Matt Chandler thing, I ain't forgetting that. That's a big deal to make your pastor step down and then just not tell anyone what was actually said. Stephen Furtick rose to global fame with elevation, but faces criticism for prosperity teaching, lavish lifestyle, and lack of accountability. And everyone knows that he's basically just a clown and that no one respects him at all. So there's that. Perry Noble was removed in 2016 for alcohol abuse, among other things. Now leads a smaller church focused on recovery. Much smaller church, and tried to do the PR business and failed. Greg Laurie stayed steady and scandal-free, continuing his harvest evangelism ministry. More on that in just a sec. David Platt faced internal division at McLean Bible over race and politics, but remains mission-focused and gospel-centered. So, everybody ruined their ministries except one guy. One guy. Can we zoom in? Let's look at this beautiful man. Greg Laurie is like the only guy out of this table that you would like at the time. Like, let's think. Like, all right, so you got Stephen Furtick was SBC, Perry Noble was SBC, Greg Laurie wasn't yet, now is. So as far as like Baptists and Reformed Baptists, we would have looked at this table and would have assumed that Greg Laurie would be the most questionable with their theology, or maybe some people were still mad about the highway to hell thing, so they say Perry Noble. But that's what we would say at the time. But now everyone at this table is questionable. Yes, even David Platt. All right. You don't have to be like anti woke, whatever stuff, and like Christian nationalists to agree with those people who made that documentary that David Platt is ruling over that church in a way that an elder should not, or at least according to that constitution, he should not be ruling over that church the way that he has, and basically saying that they're SBC without the church ever voting on it, and then being so like, no, we're not SBC, but we're giving millions through the SBC, like that. Or maybe not millions, hundreds of thousands, but lots of money. That's super shady, and it says something about your character. And again, like, I don't have to agree with the guys who made that documentary of where they stand on Christian nationalism. They would call me woke. They would call me a liberal. All right, but I can look in this and say like, no, that's pretty shady from him. So like that is your theology too. That's your ecclesiology, how you think the pastor relates to the church. Like, that says a lot about what you actually think about theology. You can say all the pretty things on a stage, and you can talk about let justice flow, but then when you're being so controlling over the church that you don't let, like, you just revoke people's membership willy-nilly, like, no, that ain't cool. And it says that you don't know your theology. So, like, you look around this table, and it's just Greg Laurie who's faithful. And he's just continuing to do his thing. And he's the one who, at this event, like, I watched some of the stuff. I didn't watch all of it back in the day. But he was the one at the event who just like kept his cool and just said what he wanted to say, and didn't try to like come up with like these quippy moments where he could get more views and get people like riled up. He was just like, here's what I think about things. And let me just tell you, Greg Laurie is still the bomb. I just watched a sermon of his, like, not last night, but the night before. Just love the man. He's been faithful all these years. I hope that he continues to be faithful, because I highly respect him. And everyone who would look at this table back then and be like, oh, he's the questionable one, I think that says everything about like what you need to be looking at moving forward about theology. It's not just about what you claim is your doctrinal statement. It's also about how you live. And all these guys, these celebrity pastors, every single one of them, except for Greg Laurie, has had some major issues in their life. And like Matt Chandler isn't even at this table right now, but you could add him in. And like, people might be mad about that, but like, what was in those text messages with that lady that were deemed so inappropriate that he got kicked out of ministry for like 4 months or whatever? Like, that's a big deal. And they didn't tell their church. They didn't tell them everything, at least. And they didn't tell the public anything. So we just take their word for it, I guess. That's never gone wrong for a big mega church before. But you can take all of that and just know, like, that's what you need to do. You need to look at people, not just what they say is their doctrinal statement, but look at their life and who's around them, who they're accountable to. And if there's nobody, like with Driscoll, with Platt, with Furtick, with Noble, with McDonald, with Chandler, like you need to pay attention to those things. It's not just about the doctrine. The second elephant room. All right, everything was a big old mess, and everyone was mad about everything, and it was all just the worst, basically. Alongside McDonald, the 2012 panel included Mark Driscoll, T.D. Jakes, Crawford Loritz, that's who, yeah, Wayne Cordero, Jack Graham, and others, most from larger seeker-friendly or charismatic contexts. So you can see the reform guys left the building. And Driscoll was like, I'm still reformed. But he really wasn't, and we all know it. And then the legacy and impact of the elephant room. The elephant room wanted to model honest conversation. Instead, it exposed a crisis. Evangelical unity was being built on platforms, not principles. Which I guess I don't know what Josh means by this. He said, this is the second time that he said it. I think what he's trying to say is like this, the idea of celebrity pastors, like that their friendship is what's bringing people together, not what they actually believe. But that's not completely accurate to what this was, and also, like, that's not a bad place to start. Like that rings to me like, the remnants of a fundy mind, of just like these should always be built on principles and theology. Like, yes, but how do you know that? Like, it's got to start with friendships, and just kindness and general love toward brothers and sisters in the faith, regardless of what you believe on different preferences. So I don't know. Like, that's what I get out of that, if that's what he meant. Doctrinal clarity was softened. Personalities went unchallenged. That's very true. Public fallout came not just for one or two, but for nearly everyone involved. Yes, but not because of this. The elephant room warned us about what happens when theological lines are blurred for the sake of brand friendly unity. Not sure if that's the takeaway. To me, it's about commercialism. Like, look at what you even put here. Like, this is the DVD case that you could purchase for like $200 of this conversation that these guys had for like 4 hours or whatever. Like, that's ridiculous. $200? And there are people who bought this, like this leather case bound thing, like as if it's like some Vinegar Syndrome release or Arrow release or some highfalutin Criterion release. What a movie, people know what I'm talking about. But that's what they were trying to do with the elephant room. So what is it about? It was about money. Now, I bring this up not just because some guy made a thread about it, but because of this. All right, Josh Howerton. You guys probably know the name, I'm assuming, because he's made himself such a public figure. Not because anyone wanted him, but just because he took over a big church. He's never built, like, he didn't found the church. He didn't plant the church. He didn't build up the church, actually. The church has been slowly going down since he got there. But he just continues to be out there being loud online, and is a plagiarist. And he even has called himself that, because he defends plagiarism and says, hey, if it's true, it's God's truth, and I could just use God's truth. And I don't have to tell anybody that I took this entire sermon from Joby Martin. I don't have to say, like in an apology that he gave, I forget for what he said, but in an apology, he stole the entire apology. You can go word for word from one celebrity pastor to him. Might have been Martin as well. But he is a plagiarist, which is lying, which is stealing, regardless of what people think about it, in an academic sense or not. That's what it is. You're taking someone else's work, passing it off as your own, and taking credit for it. So anyone who would continue to be a plagiarist and wants me to pay attention to them, no. No, you aren't worthy of attention because you're not even creating your own ideas. How do I know what you're saying to me now isn't taken from someone else, right? So he is a liar. And he says, we need something like this again. It was invaluable, in my opinion. So here comes a guy who could probably actually make this thing happen because he is, he's still, like I put on Twitter, he's still got his Drisky business poster in his room. He goes to Mark Driscoll's events and takes pictures of himself because he just loves Driscoll so much. So he's still fangirling out over Driscoll. So he could probably get Driscoll there. And then he has connections because he is now the pastor at a mega church. Not that he built it, but that he took over. But he is wanting, like, if he wants this thing to actually happen, he could get it to actually happen. And that is dumb. The idea that we would have that right now is ridiculous. I'm going to pause this for a second. This is what my son made me. He thought it was very important that, he showed me right now. But it's pretty baller, actually. Good job, bud. Mm-hmm. All right. So he could actually get this thing to happen. But this is like, like we're talking like if this is the Avengers, if you want to claim it like that, if the first Elephant Room was the Avengers, this isn't even like West Coast Avengers, okay? This is like, what's that team of like teen misfits that messed up and that's what started Marvel's Civil War? Like the mutant team. Comic book readers will know what I'm talking about. It's that team. All right, like we're gonna get Josh Howerton and like who, Ruslan and like random weird people. Like no, we don't need this. And it wasn't invaluable. What good came out of that? Nothing. No good came out of it. Just people making money, and Josh probably would like some of that. He's talked about that before, so maybe he would. But we need something like this again. It was invaluable, in my opinion. It's the most obvious thing that you would have actually like if I could have predicted, and I think I put this on X, if I could have like someone told me, oh, Josh Howerton replied to this, that's what I would think that he would say. He's so predictable of just being like, we need this again. No, we don't. Nothing good came out of it. It was, basically just a celebrity-driven money-making event that didn't have a lasting impact. That only is looked at and goes like everyone at that table except for Greg Laurie ruined their ministries in various ways to different degrees. Like they've all had major issues. Who's looking at that and going like, yeah, right? Like, what does that say about you? It says that you are driven by celebrity. Like all you want is celebrity. And this is where I start to go like, what is this guy actually up to? Because Josh here, because in the thread, it's very clear, very clear that he's against it, right? Like very clear that he's like reform leaning. Very clear that he's saying it wasn't a great thing, but did have whatever made a difference forever, whatever phrasing he used at the beginning. But then he goes, it would be interesting to see who would be part of the lineup if it was hosted today. If hypothetically you were the one to host this, what 7 guys would you ask to be a part of it to represent different evangelical viewpoints? Guys, I'm so tired of people giving up their principles for platform. And that's what this is. You literally just made a thread as a poster falls. So it wasn't the skull this time, but it was a poster. Um, Odd timing of that one. It's like up there, like nailed in, and it fell down. But you just made a whole thread about how this wasn't a good thing. And then when someone who's popular, who has a lot of followers, comes along and starts interacting, you go, well, maybe we could do it again. Who would be the 7 guys? And he starts getting all cutesy about it. And it's just, what are you doing, Josh? Like, and not just Josh Howerton, Josh Barzon. What are you doing? Like, you just said it was a bad thing. And then here comes Mr. Popularity on Twitter, who, I don't know, maybe he bought those things. Like, this is a huge part of things now. But, like, he comes over and starts entertaining your tweet. And you, like, start being like, well, maybe. Like, grow a backbone, people. I'm so sick and tired of seeing this happen, where someone says something or has something that they're about online. Popularity comes over, in different ways, different opportunities come up, and they immediately bail on what they were saying or doing to go chase popularity. You see this a lot of times with like interviews. Like, you'll have a podcast that you're like, oh, they're doing pretty good stuff. And then they'll interview someone. And it's like, well, obviously you did that because like they have a lot of followers. I'm going to take a little bit of a break here for a second and kind of clear my throat a little bit better and take a drink here. So I'm going to put up this screen for a second. I'll be right. Okay, thanks for sticking around. So it's just, I get tired of that. Like, if you're going to be about something, then just be about that thing. Don't get like swept away because someone comes and they're a celebrity. Does he say like, oh, I think it's a bad thing? Not necessarily yet. But he's entertaining it because there's someone who's popular here. And that's where I start to really go like, no thanks. I'm not going to follow people like this. Oh man, that's such an interesting question. Off the top of my head, Groeschel, Driscoll, John Mark Comer, Chris Hodges, Philip Anthony Mitchell, John MacArthur. Yeah, right. Yeah, right, John MacArthur. Sadly, if we could hop in a time machine. Yeah, right. Would be extremely interesting. Guarantee list would change if I thought about it. And definitely, I'm not going to say me, but yeah, me. Right? Like, and even him interacting, you could already tell like the wheels are turning. And even this, Bruce Frank, who at one point was in charge of the SBC abuse stuff, off the cuff, Howerton, Greer, Joby Martin. Why would you have Josh Howerton and Joby Martin both there? Josh Howerton would just repeat everything that Joby says, every single thing, because that's what he does all the time. So that you're just being echo. Everyone would just think that there's like a weird echo in the sound system. Don Carson, yeah, right. Or Moeller, Groeschel, Rick Warren, Comer. What is this, guys? This is just celebrity worship at different levels. But like, these are not people who are known for solid theology, who are known for like being able to promote their views. Most of these people, you wouldn't even be able to guess what they are. Like, you wouldn't be able to know whether someone is Baptist, Presbyterian, like these guys. Like, tell me theologically what these guys that they're listing are. Right? Some of them have been kicked out of the SBC, so maybe like you would be like, well, they used to be in the SBC. But like, no, you don't go for theological clarity, which is the idea of having conversations um, with people who are so like obscure with their theology. Like that's not how you find clarity. Is by getting a whole bunch of like really shady people together about what they actually believe and saying like now have conversations about it. Like that's not going to help anybody. All it is entertainment. Celebrity pastor entertainment. Now, I want to keep going on this thread here. Gotta have Joby Martin. Would love to have Furtick, Giglio, Pacluda, who is the guy who had the totally made up story about the woman in the bar. You guys remember that? Flannel pastor guy. He's got a podcast. Oh, boy. Eric Geiger. I think you should make this happen, brother. All right. I don't know this kid. I don't know this kid. Never interacted with him. But that makes me go, you have made a terrible mistake, dude. You went from being about like, or at least the idea is that the elephant room was bad and here's why, to then here comes Mr. Popularity to be like, hey, come on over, join the dark side. And immediately you bail on it. I think you should make this happen, brother. You never know what could happen until you try. Not cool. Not cool. He seems like a guy who watches stuff. And so he might watch this. Josh, you need to go on X and just apologize. Like, I don't think you're being, I think this is disingenuous. I do. I think that's just him trying to buddy up with someone who's popular and has a following, and he's trying to build a following. But, like, you can't have it both ways, dude. If you're going to say this is bad and I'm reformed, you don't get to go like, hey, guy who's known for being a public liar, you should go and make this happen. It's not right. And it's just either it's disingenuous or you are incredibly naive. Do we need to keep feeding the beast of American celebrity culture? Someone came in here with some thoughts. Haven't we learned our lesson yet? I totally understand where you are coming from, and I share some of the same concerns with celebrity culture, just like you put in the post or the thread. But out of curiosity, do you feel like there is some similarity in some of the early church councils and later church history synods with those that came and represented their viewpoints at those events? What a ridiculous thing to compare this to. Like, like you got a bunch of celebrity pastors who are doing like a money making event, like basically a big old fundraiser, and then like you're like, isn't that the same thing as councils? Like, no. Like, one, there was always a specific thing. All right, Council of Nicaea. Why do they have it? Well, because Arius was out there making up a bunch of nonsense, right? Like you have things out there. Chalcedon. Why do you have Chalcedon? So that you could, have some clarity about some of these things. Like that's what it is. Like there is an issue that was already there, and you get all of the theological leaders. And again, who was there? Do you know? I mean, we know some of the names, but like you don't actually know. It's not like they were like big time celebrities. Like, and like you don't know their names. They're just random theology nerds and pastors getting together and having conversations about these specific issues and how they relate to other aspects of theology, and then coming out and saying like, hey, this is what we should we should all be on the same page about this because we've gotten together and we've had the debates. Not like, hey, should we sing Highway to Hell in church? Let's all get all the celebrity pastors over here and like have a debate about it, make some money. And if you pay $250, you can, stream it live. That's what, no. I'm going to stop there before I start going even further down. But there's a lot that can be mined out of that. That is a great observation, recouncils. no, it's not a great observation. Uh, and to be fair, each guy represented at the original Elephant Room was just a garden variety of Baptists. No, not necessarily. So denominationally, there really was not much diversity in that as far as a critique I could offer on those selected. Elephant Room 2, they tried to broaden, but you're totally right. Yeah. Well, now they're, oh no, they're probably exchanging DMs. But this was like, should we have another one of these things? Should we get another Elephant Room? No, because it was a stupid idea. And it's still a stupid idea. You don't get celebrities together who don't know their theology, who are so obscure about their theology because, once again, because they're trying to cast the widest net they can. So if they are very specific about their theology, that net narrows, and they want the biggest churches, they want the biggest platforms, and so they spread it as far as they can. That's why they're gospel people. Is it about having the gospel at the center of everything they do? Maybe for a few of these guys, but I mean, around this table, nope, 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 nope. Yeah, maybe. Like that's what I would say about it. So it's not about that. It's about casting the widest net possible because you want as many people as possible. So you aren't going to get that with these guys now. It'll be even more vague and probably just lines that they remember from watching YouTube videos of other people or from the first Elephant Room. I've noticed that. I've noticed that some of these guys that talk about theology on YouTube and on podcasts, and I hear direct quotes of things that I remember watching in college, and they're just passing it off as their own. No, it isn't. You're just doing the same thing that Josh Howerton does every single week. You're just plagiarizing. It's foolishness. We don't need celebrities. And to be honest, like, it hasn't worked. Like, think about it. All right, the idea is that supposedly that you would have unity about these things. Did we have unity about these things? No, not at all, actually. So it didn't work. So why would you do it again? Well, because you watch the videos and you want more fanboy stuff to watch. Maybe you're bored because your favorite podcast isn't streaming all the time like it used to. Maybe there's no letters from the culture war and you're a little ticked about it and you need something to entertain yourself. Well, guess what? There's a thing called Netflix. You could stream things. You know, there's some good movies out there put out by Vinegar Syndrome, which Skeletal Remains got. But like, there's some good movies and TV shows out there. Go watch that. But they're just like, well, I watched all the Chosen episodes. You know, like what else am I supposed to watch? And the conferences aren't happening as much anymore. I think, like my prediction, it's totally unnecessary. We don't need it at all. But I think that these kinds of things will happen. It might not be called the Elephant Room. Maybe they won't want the baggage of it. But those kind of things will happen from these guys. All right, you're going to get more. Even in the YouTube world, there was like that Janko guy. I don't know people, but like that Janko guy did the like Christian Avengers thing. You're going to get stuff like that where it's an event and you're going to have to pay through the teeth to be able to stream it. And there are going to be some young people who watch it because they're obsessed with celebrity. And that's all it is. That's all it's going to show for you. And like maybe there'll be some people who watch so that they can make content about it and like be able to reference things and see what's being said. You'll have that, and you'll have like celebrity obsessed kids basically who watch it. And the only people who look back at the Elephant Room with fondness, I believe, are the people who are still obsessed with celebrity, who are immature in their faith and focused on platform building rather than on just holding to good old theology and just like my mom always said, based off of Psalms, of course, live in the land and dwell in the land and do good. Like that's it. Just do that. You know, we don't need celebrities to be telling us like, you know, here's why you shouldn't have goldfish in your Sunday schools. Like, You really want to pay $200 for that? Go ahead, I guess. But I have better things to spend my money on, mostly ceiling tiles for my dining room. Let's go up a little bit and see what you guys are thinking. I'm going way up. I'm going all the way to the tippy top. All right. I didn't watch the first, but my first exposure was the reactions to the second. Yeah. Okay. Like people talking about it. Yeah. The second one was crazy. Yeah. TD Jakes, who doesn't even believe in the Trinity. And you had weird dudes trying to like nuance things about the Trinity. And like when Mark Driscoll is the guy at the table who is the Trinitarian for the group, that's not, you're at the wrong table. Like that's not the person that you want to be like, you're the smartest guy here. uh, but the Christian world doesn't seem different than the non-Christian world. Exactly, like they steal a lot of tactics from the non-Christian world and just try to copy and paste, and sometimes it works. It's just a meme to me in that it works like financially. It's just a meme to me. Nobody credible is going to touch that with a barge pole. Yeah, it's the way it should be. But I guarantee you, there will be someone. There will be someone. This thing of like, I don't care what platform I'm invited to. I'm going to preach the gospel wherever I go. That's someone will say that kind of a thing and do whatever this next one is that Howerton puts on or whatever. Maybe Barzon can do the logo for it. Um, I don't think it was ER, but remember the convo between Driscoll, McDonald, and Dever about church growth, etc. Didn't age well, and I doubt ER did either. Yeah, you're thinking about the Gospel Coalition video about multi-site, and yeah, that didn't age well back then. It wasn't like even the day of, it wasn't good. I remember being like, "What the heck?" They left it on the site for a good long time because clicks. I actually never heard of the Elephant Room until this stream today. I was so impacted I got a concussion with amnesia afterwards. Nice. There are men who give themselves a lot of credit. I remember the Elephant Room. Now it's literally an elephant in the room. McDonald and Driscoll for sure. Yeah. I'm also kind of old and in the young restless reform circles or adjacent to them. Yeah. Same here. Anyone sitting next to Mark Driscoll is holy nope. Who is Wild 2000s hair guy beside Driscoll? Oh, that's Stephen Furtick. I can't see his face. Yeah. Well, it's a very small face. He's got a tiny head. Just a very, very small head for such a like big shouldered guy who like obviously works out a lot. You can't really fix tiny head, you know? Um, I believe in a thing called love. Just listen to the rhythm of heart. If you haven't got snacks, you haven't got anything. That's right. Give the kids the goldfish, right? But yeah, I mean, Driscoll, like, obviously had that. He probably rehearsed in the mirror and had his line ready to go. So, Elephant Room was super cringe. I agreed, and I already showed that. You may have called it the Elephant Room, but it ended up being the elephant in the room. Basically, there's just a bunch of elephants. It's not just one, it's like a bunch. Perhaps a counterpoint effort can be presented. It could be named the Mouse Room. Maybe. Is that a Republican elephant? No, it's just them being weird. I thought Greg Laurie had gone super MAGA friends with Trump. No, not like, yeah, he's a Republican and the sanctity of life is a big deal to him. And like a lot of people who would agree with that, they have gotten very political the last few years. But Greg Laurie has kind of always done that. And so it's not surprising to see him at like different prayer events and stuff like that. Hello. What is your official statement on the passing away of John MacArthur? I don't have an official statement, Chester. But I'm sad. Like, it's a sad thing when anyone passes away. He was 86 years old, lived a long life, made an impact on a lot of people, but also has issues like anyone else. And some of those issues are more significant than other people's issues, and have had like a bigger impact on people being hurt. But I think he's in heaven. Greg Laurie is my favorite Calvary Chapel guy. I always thought he was more reformed than even he realized, but his Calvary Chapel background wouldn't let him completely embrace it. Yeah, yeah. I don't really. I just think he's biblical. Like, and again, I don't think he's like the greatest theologian. There's tons of stuff I would disagree about, but I respect the man, and his preaching is still good. Okay, that sermon that he did, they just did a crusade at Angel Stadium, and I watched his sermon, and it's a good sermon on the prodigal son. Like he's still preaching good. Yeah, it was very expensive. Yeah, DVD case, but it's leather. It's not real leather, but it's still a kind of leather. Whoa, that is a lot of dough, right? Mr. Plagiarism is just fine Howerton, basically. Stealing, what's up, Kip? Stealing the apology is more diabolical than stealing the sermon. Yeah, for me, it's just the repetitive nature of it. He just does it all the time, and like, it's frustrating. Like anyone gaining a platform through stealing other people's work is just ridiculous. Howerton would host it at his house and charge $1,500 for groupie pastors to attend. Maybe. Maybe Howerton doesn't have any intellectual property of his own. Like, yeah, we could take it. We could use the same thing, and well, that's basically his whole shtick, isn't it? Like, let's just do the elephant room again. Doesn't have to come up with a different event, but just do that. YouTuber elephant room. Oh boy. No, I'm not coming. I'm not watching. I'm not coming. Um, that's some stuff about docent and all the craziness there. Interesting. I'm married to an old school guy. Well, it sounds like he's a good dude then. All the dudes who flock to Moscow, for example. Yeah, yeah. Like they just chase celebrity, and wherever the celebrity is, that's where they're gonna go. So if it's Doug Wilson, then they'll go and be a little Wilsonite for a while, and maybe in time they'll come out of it. There are plenty of people who used to be obsessed with celebrity, who come out of it and just start thinking for themselves. So we could pray for that. um, does his own research and writing. Gotta love him for that. Nice. I'm behind, but Pam, I scribed. Can't wait to watch. Yeah, go subscribe to Pam's channel. She's doing cool stuff. The flannel chips and salsa dude, Pacluda, right? Press the like button. Gotta go now. Take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, Carol. Thanks, RJ. I'm stalled on the video here because my dear mother called and I must answer. You gotta do that. Always answer your mom's calls. They'd include Joe Rigney or Wug Dilson. Yeah. If I were to just like kind of guess, it would be mostly like the anti-cancel culture, anti-woke guys. Like you would probably have Josh Howerton would be there, of course. He says other people. I don't know, like the really vanilla megachurch world, who else would want to come from that? Because it's not going to help. Like you could look like the Elephant Room stuff didn't do anything to help their celebrity. It wasn't a success. They might have even lost money. Like they probably did lose money off of it. So like I don't think that you would get all that many like vanilla megachurch guys like the ones that they listed. But you'd probably get like the really vocal guys on X. That's probably what it would turn into. So you'd probably have like Josh Howerton, Joe Rigney. Who would be some other ones? I don't think like Brian Sauvé and Joel Webbin would be included in something like that. But you'd have like someone who is kind of in that world. Yeah. Oh, it's just that Neil Shenvi guy might want to do it. Like you would get people like that. It wouldn't be like, all the Greg Lauries of the world. It wouldn't be like that anymore. In the words of the Kid President, not cool, Robert Frost. I love Kid President. I just watched a video the other day of Kid President. The principles versus platform issue is huge, and a lot of folks, me included, struggle to get it right, especially when we've got projects to promote. But no one ever needs a new elephant room, right? Like, and there's something to that, right? Like like there are good things of doing events. All right. Like I'm not saying you can't do an event. I'm not saying that, people who would be considered celebrity pastors can't do events. But this fake thing of like we're about unity and we're going to deal with theology and really talk through things. No, you're not. You haven't talked about theology in 30 years. That's why you're a celebrity pastor. So like why are you going to do it now? You're not going to. Like it's about trying to like pick at the bones of differences between people, but then they just end up being like, well, agree to disagree, and let's not actually bring up Bible verses here. Like it's that kind of stuff. But having events, conferences, stuff like that, I'm fine with it, as long as it's clear what you're trying to do, and like just even like the whole. I'm not saying you can't do it with a high level of I don't know, just like I'm not saying you can't sink money into something, but when it looks like that's not the scene. Where's the scene? Not there, not there. This one. But when it looks like this and looks like a game show and like all of that, you've gone off the rails. All right, there's. I'm not saying I know exactly where the line is, but I know when the line's been crossed like this. Like it's just no, you're not really about it. And yeah, that was ridiculous to bring up conferences or councils and weird, 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 weird. What's up, David? Hope you're doing well. Vinegar Syndrome mentioned wild shearing way behind over here. I knew someone would be out there and get it. Big difference between the old councils and modern conferences that they weren't celebrities coming together to speak. They were shepherding the church by defending orthodoxy. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, you want to do an elephant room again? All right, let's get all of these guys' church, have the churches represented, but let's have campus pastors and see how it goes. Let's get campus pastors for all these same churches and see what kind of event they actually do. Um, these men have an air of we are the most important men in the world, very off-putting. I mean, that's what you would have, yeah. And there was no paywall for the first ecumenical council. Yeah, bit of a difference. Bit of a difference. Pastors in cars smoking cigars is better than the elephant room. 100%, man. Oh, why did Joe ever stop doing those? I know what Jimmy's busy, but like that was so much fun. All right, I would like it's like what would you do for a Klondike bar? Like I would do anything for another pastors in cars smoking cigars like series, not just one episode. All right, I want like at least 6, and then I would do some things. I would do some terrible things. All right, let's not get weird. When it comes to celebrities and Christianity, I think there's maybe 1 or 2 who are the exceptions that prove the rule of celebrity being really bad for us. So you like a couple exceptions, or are you saying like there's only a few bad? I think you'd say that there's mostly bad, and then like assuming that there's some good. Like, and there are. Like like I just said, Greg Laurie seems like he's the same guy, and I have seen a video like that he didn't know was being taken of him talking with people, and he seems like the exact same guy. Again, John Piper, regardless of what you think about his theology. Super nice, super kind, super welcoming, and was nice about people coming up to him and talking to him at his conference, like not having an event where you have to pay, just like standing in the front and you could just come up and talk to him, and he would give you his time and attention, and not in some green room waiting, eating M&Ms, and only the brown M&Ms. All right, only the brown ones. These are the coloreds. I don't want the colored M&Ms. I only want the brown ones. I don't know, but he's not doing that. So there's plenty of guys out there who are good and have some level of celebrity to them and are still just normal people. Joe Thorne. Joe Thorne is that way. Like everybody knows Joe Thorne. But like, when my kid's in the hospital, Joe texts me, and says, oh, I heard this, or, like there was a day where he saw on X that I had a headache. And then Joe Thorne texted me about my headache. Like, what a sweetheart of a guy, Like, and he's like, is he a shorter celebrity? Absolutely, in a lot of ways. But yeah, but he's a good guy. I remember the first Elephant Room, so shaking my head. Whenever I say SMH, whenever I see that, I always think so much hate. I don't know why. But like, I'm not used to these things. That gave us the TD Jake snafu. I don't remember what the exact snafu was, other than him being present and not believing in the Trinity. I have no problem with pastors being famous, but the terrible theology and the overemphasis on whatever platform they have over their congregation is too much. Yes. Well, um, it's when them being famous gives them authority. Like, no, your character gives you authority. Like, a pastor is only authoritative when he's opening up the Word of God and he's doing it from a qualified life. That's not just like, him, as a person, because he's got 6 campuses, now he has more authority. No. You're at the wrong table. LOL. Yeah. Mr. Wolf, Christian nationalism might be. Like, actually, he came to mind. There was someone else I was thinking of. It was just that Neil Shenvi guy. There was someone else I think would be. Oh, the foolproof theology guy, who's just going on X and just constantly trying to make people mad, and then being like, about it. I don't know his name, but that guy. And maybe, like, I don't know, that Bakluta guy probably would be included. Elephant Room would be more like Jerry Springer fight. Anyone else watch that when they were supposed to be watching like Price is Right or something like that when they were homesick, and then you'd like switch the channel and be like, I cannot believe this. Was I the only one? Probably. What are campus pastors? Like, they pastor the campus, I guess. They pastored that campus. I'll take the orange M&Ms, please. Yeah. Those are the pretzel ones, right? Yeah, there are only a few good folks. There are a lot of shady folks, unfortunately. Yeah, at least that's been my experience. But I don't know everybody, and I'm sure that there are good people out there, and not just like, oh, there's something off about their theology. I mean, just like character wise, that they love Jesus, they're following after Jesus, and they just have a lot of people who are following after them as they're following Jesus. I'm sure those people are out there, but I just the vast majority. Like, if I see someone, they have a large, huge following, I immediately have red flags usually. And sometimes that's confirmed, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I got to take those flags down. One more thing, my husband. He used to be James Mack's research assistant, would give him a 10-page exegetical paper on the scripture passage each week before around 2001 to 2010. Foggy on the exact dates, about 8 years or so. Oh, dang, Helen. Okay, so James McDonald, he would basically do his sermon writing for him, or at least give him like what the text says, and then he would just, man, all that stuff is so weird to me. Like, I couldn't imagine. Like, well, one, it's like a lot of these guys, it's their only job is to preach. And like a lot of them, yes, they have to preach multiple times, but it's a lot of times it's like the first sermon, like the only sermon they have to come up with. Or maybe they have to come up with 2 and then like something for the staff during the week. And it's like, and then you hear about like them using like docent or just plagiarizing pastors. And it's like, what? No. Like, what are you even doing then? You want to know a funny story? One time, I'm not going to say where I was, but I was at a church, and I heard Star Trek music, and I go in to the pastor's office, and his feet are up, and he looked like a raccoon. Actually, you know what he looked like? He looked like the couple at the Coldplay concert, just like faded. Like that's that's what he looked like. And I realized, like, oh, he and I had heard Star Trek. I was doing other things at the church, and I had been hearing Star Trek like all day. Uh, and I was like, what? And then I go in, and it was very clear. He had just been watching Star Trek like the entire day on his Mac. It's like, come on, guy. Like, if you're gonna do that, at least put a headphone in so you could hear someone coming. But that's probably what they're doing. Like, they got some other people writing their sermons for them, so they got the time. Um, Joe, 5 inch, 5 feet tall. What? No, Joe. That was the real deal. Yeah, he is the real deal. Totally right on Piper. The only thing he doesn't like about people talking with him is being made much of. Yeah, he's at least a really humble guy. Yeah, I mean, we used to have a lot more, but then I stopped streaming, so that's on me. But yeah, it's pretty cool to have people hanging out. Not the script for the sermon, but all things scripture. Yeah, like here's what the text says, and then they have to build the sermon from there. Okay, that's a lot of groundwork. That's a lot of work to have finished for you. Like, so odd to me. I just don't understand that world at all. If the scriptures are clear, why would someone need someone else to do extensive research each week for the sermon? Just wondering. Yes. Like, wonder. We should get Dean to order pizza for us all, dinner and a show. Pizza. All right, let's. I want to know. All right, we've entered that time in the stream where I look at the time and I go, can I goof off for a little bit longer? I can for probably another like 15-ish minutes. What's the best pizza out there? Okay, I don't want to hear this like fancy like Chicago deep dish, or oh, there's one specific place in New York that no one knows. I'm talking about like just like every like you can find it in any town delivery pizza. Who you getting? Who you getting? My family, we're locked in with Domino's, and I don't like it. All right. It's not the worst thing in the world, but like I just have one son who is like, he's my autistic son, who's very much like, I have these things that I like, and one of them is Domino's pizza. So if we get any kind of other pizza, he's not having it. But let me know what your favorite delivery pizza is. It's very important and definitely relates to Celebrity Pastor. And it's very closely connected. In that, I think every celebrity pastor who has at least at one point ordered a pizza. That's what I think. I like anchovies on pizza. Get out of here. No way. No way. You're just saying that for the chat. You're saying it for the chat. You're not really wanting that, right? Please say that you're saying it for the chat. Let me go into YouTube. I want to see. I want to know. Have you ever seen? Let's go to my channel. I want to see who's the king of the chat. Let's see who's winning this thing. Who's the best person according to the AI system. Let's see. I see Mrs. Creole is number 2. Who's number 1? Pam is number 1. You know what? I think the AI got it right. Who's number 3? And we got Helen in at number 3. And the rest of you guys are all a bunch of losers. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Am I the only one? I think that's kind of dope. I didn't know that like it did that until like just the other day. And now I kind of want to like make a segment out of it, like king of the chat, like that's kind of cool. Let's go back up. Pizza, right? I work at a local pizza place. Nice. But you got to pick one still. You can't pick your own because we won't know it. Find the local place with loud New Yorkers running the pizza place. No, I'm talking about like you could order it anywhere, any town. Any town has one. Or at least like any town in your region has that one. We're locked in with Domino's as well due to two of our allergy kids. Yeah, I will say Domino's has the best app. All right. Like you can know exactly where your pizza is. They're like, they give you like such detailed, like Becky just put, like it probably has like numbers of like, Becky put one pepperoni on your pizza. Becky put two pepperonis on your pizza. Like, it just goes up until it's done. Like, they're very detailed about like where your pizza is. I don't get delivery. What? Why not? My place has a stone oven with a wood fire. Well, now we're all jealous. Or just Domino's or Papa John's. See, that's mine. Papa John's is my favorite. Always has been. You know why? Pepperoncinis. They give you pepperoncinis. Of course I'm going to like it. I love pepperoncinis on pizza. But also, like, their sauce is bomb. It's like spicy, a little tiny bit spicy. And I like that. It's great pizza. Great pizza. Best pizza in the world. No, it's not. Gotta go with Domino's. Pizza Hut gives me anxiety when I eat it. Don't know why. Probably because you feel like you got to read a book to earn it. But Marcos has been growing on me. I don't. Marcos. I've never been there. I've never been there. Michael, what's up, Michael? Michael S. returning to the chat. TMNT has the best cartoon pizzas. That's true. Those pies look like so eatable. No, I don't like my place makes pizza called what? No, I do like it. My place makes a pizza called the Romano. It has anchovies on it. Baloney. I don't. I like insert Ron Burgundy. I don't believe you. No, in rural Canada, in rural Canada, New Orleans pizza is about the best. Certainly better than Pizza or Domino's. One, I've never heard of New Orleans pizza, and I'm in rural Canada, so that's a lie. Aaron, you seem out of touch. You got all fancy and went to the States, and now like you're just out of touch. No, it's probably like Ontario kind of thing. But like what do we got? We like locally, there's Houston pizza, which is just trash on dough. And what else do we got? Yeah, we got pizza, and it's okay. We got family pizza. That's all right. 2 for 1. Not so great. We got Pizza Hut, but Pizza Hut, it's taking a dive, man. I remember like the crust being like so crunchy, and it's just not crunchy no more. What else do we got around here? We don't have Papa Murphy's. Any fans of Papa Murphy's out there? Like I grew up on Papa Murphy's. Like we would always go there and get it, and I love those things. Yeah, it's inconvenient. You got to take it back home and bake it, but it was always good, and we loved it. So, Costco pizza is the worst. Just a bunch of grease. Well, it used to be good, and then I think like I became an adult, and then it's like realized like that's not what flavor is supposed to be. I live in the sticks, non-deliveries. That's sad. Oh man, I used to like Panago, but they have gone downhill. Panago Greek Special. Okay, I've been to Panago before. Yes, Domino's app is great. All we can do is pick up. I guess I work the oven often, so I could cook it for all hypothetically. If we all went to like, all right, so if we ever do a conference, if we ever do an elephant room of the if we ever do an underdog room, like we'll get me, Aaron Armstrong, Joe Thorne, we'll get my buddies, the Daddy Daddies, we'll get Jer, and we'll get John, and then we'll invite someone that we all don't like. Um, a couple names pop to mind, but it's just mean to now say it. But we'll do a big event, and we'll just like say everyone is the worst about everything all the time. and we'll all do that at Salt and Light's work. That's where we're going. The closest delivery pizza place costs almost as much in delivery as it does to get pizza enough to feed my 5 children. What a terrible thing. That sounds so sad. Papa John's is my overall favorite chain, although Domino's has the best deals and best app, like you were saying. Yeah, they do have really good deals. I mean, like, come on. You can get like 3 pizzas and it's $30. It's like, that's pretty much better than everywhere else. I live in BYC, and the pizza is no better or worse than anywhere else. The same ingredients are available to everyone all over the country, and everyone knows all the different styles of making pizza. Oh, New York City. Like not BYC. I was like, I don't even know what that is, man. We do carry out instead of delivery to save money. Well, if you're out and about, I do delivery. I don't need to go there. Jawan, what's up? The only good guys were Matt Chandler and Greg Laurie. David Platt knew his stuff, but turns out he was a fraud. If you're going to do it again, you need better theological variety. Or any theological variety would be okay. We were Domino's people when we lived down south. Now that we're in the northeast, we're spoiled with New York style pizza. Our splurge is a local place run by Sicilians. Amazing. You're gonna make me cry. You're gonna make me cry. I want to go hang out with the Sicilians. Those are my people. Mrs. Creole wins it. Oh, it's me. Well. YouTube is fickle. Oh, man. I could link the website. You can see the menu. It's real. Okay. You know, like just say the name. Just say the name. Give us their social security, please. I don't go for delivery. I prefer takeout to save my dollars when I don't make it myself. Yeah, we do make our own pizza quite often because I mean, like, I just make sauce. I just make sauce and it just goes in the freezer. I just make a bunch of it. Like, I've got like a big old thing of marinara that I made just sitting up there in the freezer right now. And then so, like, my wife sometimes will make the dough. Sometimes we'll buy like just the dough. Superstore has some actually pretty good pizza crust. They're like, it's actually like a flatbread crust, but it's really good for pizza. So we do that. And then I put on the homemade pepperoni, which isn't homemade because I don't want to make pepperoni. I'm going to go down a little bit. To be fair, rural Canada is a large area. Very true. It could be anywhere. There's rural places everywhere, apparently. St. Louis style, in my opinions, pizza is certainly a pizza of all time. St. Louis style? I don't even know what that is. Now I got to Google that. Now, see, this is what happens when you do a stream with a lot of people hanging out. And then you got to Google stuff. I have to learn? What? I'm here to give my thoughts, not to learn. I love pizza so much that I keep a stash of frozen pieces just in case. I think that's smart. Like, because then, like, what happens when, like, you both forget to get out the meat from the freezer? You know, we've all been there. And you're like, oh, I don't want to order something. Like, let's just throw those pizzas in. It's great. Also, Costco lasagnas are great for that. Like, they're not a good lasagna, but you can eat it. Like, and you don't have to make it. I love pizzas. Oh, yeah, I already read that. That's how reading works. You're right. New Orleans pizza is primarily in Ontario. Sorry for being Ontario-centric. Yeah, of course you would be. You're just people from Toronto. Just being like, everybody knows about Toronto. Toronto represents all Canada. Also, I used to work at Pizza Hut back in the day. It was legit. But that was in the late 90s and early 2000s. That's cool. Did you do like the punch card for kids when they would read their books, and you like make sure that they did it? Pizza Oven / Papa Bear's, Ohio. Nice. Pizza Hut back in the day where you had refills in those big red plastic cups and all you can eat buffet. It's now passed into legend. Ooh, it's a legend. Yeah, it was pretty awesome as a kid. Very different now. My local Domino's closed, and now Papa John's has removed most of their deals, so it's almost $17 for a one-topping large pizza which used to almost get me 2 Domino's large pizzas. Dang. Like we got Little Caesars for those moments where you're like, I only have $5. But man, 17 is a lot. Brigham Young City, maybe. Rest in peace, Pizza Hut. Yeah, let's put that in the chat. Rest in peace, Pizza Hut. You need a cooking channel, Dean. You keep on saying that, and it would be the messiest channel ever. I'm so messy when I cook, and I wouldn't be able to handle it. I have to like just be able to focus on cooking. If I have to focus on multiple things, like if I'm making like a big meal, I don't even like to do it when my wife is like not at home. Like if I have to watch my kids and do it, it's not going to happen. Like it's like I need backup before I start cooking, because I get like I just focus on the cooking, and it's more fun that way. I make ours too with my sourdough discard. 9 times out of 10, our pizza is homemade, but New York style is the family treat. Nice. St. Louis style is basically a cracker style crust. Lame. Michael S. No. Dough is supposed to like, it's like not super thick and not super thin. It's like just like that, you know? Like what is this? Like if you want a cracker, go have a crackle. Crackle. I used to have some speech therapy stuff. I don't know if you could tell. I didn't do the punch cards. I was back of the house making pizza for everyone. I was the cook. So could we say that St. Louis style is kind of like Domino's thin crust? Is it? I do like their Brooklyn pizza, like that Brooklyn pizza they made. I thought that was pretty decent, but my kids don't like it, so we don't get to order it. Actually, $17 one topping is a pretty good deal where I'm at. I mean, like if it's a good pizza, messy cooking channel would be very notable. No, it wouldn't. All right, it wouldn't work. I have too many things I've tried and started and gotten back into and then gave up on. Cooking channel, who's got time for that? Not me. You know what I gotta do? I gotta get out of here in like a minute. Dean, did you used to eat pizza Lunchables? No, because I was poor. No, I grew up actually very like it was very hard. There were a lot of siblings, and so like we didn't no Lunchables. We were on the food program at school when I was at public school, and then like I never. Here's the deal. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I had so many siblings. I never remember my mom or dad. Like my dad definitely wouldn't, but my mom making me lunch ever. Or even supper sometimes. Like we didn't really do that. It was like kind of like fend for yourself kind of stuff a lot of times. So it's like, no Lunchables here. But I don't know, but we were weird too. Like it would be like, we're gonna go to Taco Bell and everyone can get something off of the 99-cent menu, or Wendy's, the 99-cent menu. We got one thing, and that was like a meal. And it's like, looking back, it's like, dang. But also like, going out that often, like you could feed the family a lot cheaper if just make it. But I don't know. They're not a good lasagna, but you can eat it. Sounds like an amazing advertisement. Like Buckley's mixture, it tastes awful, but it works. Kind of like it is that. It's not good, but it is filling, and you don't have to make it. So it's that. Little Caesars is borderline throwing pizza at people. You could probably get 3 pizzas there if you found all the spare change in your house. Yeah, probably. LOL. Yeah, we don't get pizza very often with those prices. Destroy the kitchen with Dean. Nice. Underdog kitchen. We were poor also, so that would be like the biggest treat when I would be able to get one. You know what I remember being like the biggest treat? Going into the grocery store, and it was 25 cents for like those fruit leather things. Not fruit roll-ups, but do you guys remember like the fruit leather things of like, I don't even know what it is, like raspberry like strip of something. It was like a healthy thing. It wasn't like candy. And then like the 50 cent juices that were like in those like little barrels, and like, you know, it's just like basically Kool-Aid, but like the little barrel ones. And like that would be a treat. Like if you went out with dad, he would get you a fruit leather and a juice from there, and you're like, this is the best day of my life, you know, like that kind of stuff. All right, guys, what do you think about the set? What do you think? Is it too blue? Is it too blue? Should I put the Orange County poster back there? I like kind of like all the same thing. I don't know. I will say I'm a little mad. I put up these blue, like the blue behind me, and you can still see the wrinkles. I was really hoping that would blur out a little bit more. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. If I'm like real close, you can't see it. Maybe I need to change my shot a little bit. I did give myself a lot more room to where I could, like, we could put the screen and the camera over there in the room and have a wider shot, and I could be more in the front. Then you wouldn't see as much of what was behind me, but yeah. So this is what I did this morning, and then I wanted to stream about that thing that we talked about earlier. Not so much about pizza, but it ended up being probably equally about pizza as, as it is about the elephant room. And now I'm really hungry because I didn't eat my lunch because I gave the kids their medicine and ran downstairs and started this stream. So that's what we're doing today. All right. IMOs pronounced emos. Okay. I thought you were saying in my opinions. So emos is a brand in St. Louis, not my opinion. To be fair, I said it was a pizza style, not the thin crust cut into squares, uses provolone cheese instead of mozzarella and sweeter sauce. Well, I think there's a lot of that then in Minnesota. There were plenty of like local places when I was pastoring in Minnesota that had that kind of style of pizza. Like I'd never seen pizza cut up into squares before moving to Minnesota, and then it was like everywhere. And yeah, very thin pizza. And honestly, I don't like it. I'm sorry, Michael S. You can like what you like. I will not yuck your yum, but I will go. Curie Pie Lord, no, I'm late. I guess I have to watch it later. Yeah, actually, you have to leave right now. Get out of here. You no good. So no elephant room, and probably no elephant on pizza either. Oh man, elephant room to discuss what pizza toppings are acceptable and what isn't. I'm fine with pretty much everything that isn't a fruit. If it's a fruit, it doesn't belong on a pizza, you weirdo. And don't give me this, your tomato is a fruit. Tomato is a fruit, don't you know? Baloney. Baloney. No. Don't do that. No, the blue is heat, homie. Heat. It's heat. Yeet. I don't know. Way to bring it home, Ellen. Great comment. Right? Keep the set consistent. Okay, forget it. Do whatever you want. Yeah. I'm sorry. I have problems. I have to change it every 5 seconds. It's part of my nature. Do I like my nature? Not really. I'm compelled. I'm compelled to change my set every 5 minutes. And do I like it? I don't know. But here's something. Hopefully tonight I'm getting a Rodecaster Pro. All right? Like, I am so excited for this thing. I've wanted a Rodecaster Pro forever. But it's so expensive. Like, you in the States, you might think it's expensive. For people who are into like Christian podcast stuff, you guys will know. Probably everyone else is like, what is that thing? But it's like $600 in the States when it first came out. It was like $1,100 up here. Okay, it's nuts. And I found a guy. There's one channel that's broken, and so he's giving it away at a really good price. And so I think I'm getting it. I think I'm getting it tonight. Woo! Oh, so excited. But who knows? Then I might go to the desk, because I might want to show it off. I might want to have it on the set if I get it, because it's cool looking. I love it. I like it's got colors. It's got colors on it. I'm so excited. Helen wins the chat for sure. She's had it dialed in for a while now. Yep, she wins. Lori is very Trump adjacent, so I don't really care for him either. Yeah, I don't know. I like, for me, as long as they're not like worshiping Trump, I'm like, whatever. I don't care. Because I'm never going to agree with those people about everything. So, Lutefisk Pizza? Get out of here. Laurel, it was great knowing you. You're not welcome anymore. Where's the moderators? Can we ban Laurel? Sorry. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm kidding. Thin crust pizza is only good to be the appetizer for the real pizza. But then what's garlic bread? Garlic bread needs to be the appetizer. Or like Parmesan nuts. All right, but none of that. A bit of red or orange to balance it maybe, but that looks good. Yeah, yeah, it does look very monolithic right now, but that was kind of what I was going for. I don't know why it looks so different here than when I had it set up the other angle here. Like, because like the white, like these are white lights, but it looks blue on camera. And so like, and I like the way it like bounces off the wall, off of this blue, but I don't know, probably mess around with it. Try to dial it in a little bit better. But yeah. Does Canadian Tire sell Roadmaster Pros? No, they won't. They sell other things for the road, but not from road. Is Canadian bacon a topping in Canada? No, it's just bacon, and it is a topping actually, but it's just bacon. Yes, but it's called American bacon. That's right. Sure. Yeah. What about green peppers on pizza? Heck yeah. All right, what I like is I'm a plain guy, so I like pepperoni and I like green pepper. That's what I want on my pizza. I don't, or maybe if I'm really hungry, maybe bacon as well. But I don't eat sausage. I don't like it takes a very good sausage for me to actually be like, that's an okay sausage. So like no, and don't like a lot of things. Don't like mushrooms. Not a mushroom guy. Yeah, green peppers are the bomb. I love pineapples on pizza. Dean, it's been a good run, but I guess we're enemies now. I guess we've always been, and I've never known until this moment. That's what it really is. We've always been at war. I've been banned from Underdog land. That's right. You take your pizza takes and you get out of here. Green peppers, Canadian bacon, pineapple sounds amazing. Some of those things are true. Green peppers are technically fruit. Don't you say that, Nathan. Don't you say it. Technically. No. There's still 38 people here, and I've been talking about pizza for like 20 minutes. We have pizza called the Ricky that has American cheese under the provolone cheese and has pepperoni and green peppers. Too much cheese. Too much. There's too much cheese. Got two cheeses? You don't need two cheeses. You just need mozzarella. And then you Parmesan. And I don't even care. Okay? All right. Get the Kraft Parmesan bottle and just shake it on there. All right. Or you can be fancy like at a restaurant and you can like put in like the little like see-through glass shaker thing. But we all know it's the Kraft stuff. It's fine. And we put that on the pizza. But like I don't know. I'm just goofing because I put Asiago on my pizza. like what I do, like I buy the big ol' Asiago bricks from Costco, and I just use that in everything that I do. So like even on like pasta, I'll shave off a little Asiago and put that on the pasta and a little bit on the pizza too. So I just want to talk. I was rambling, and sometimes the words just take control, and you just kind of lose control of the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel. Saucy or barely sauced? Saucy. More sauce. If it's barely sauced, that's a grilled cheese. Like, that's an open-faced grilled cheese. It's not a pizza. I thought tomatoes are fruit. Yeah. Someone's gonna clip that out. Oh man, where are my sound effects? Bring them out. Oh, this one.
Uh-oh.
This is when someone says that we ordered pizza and then they say, "Well, we got pineapple on it." No, thank you. And to me, it's
Catastrophic!
okay. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go do some things, mostly laundry, and I will see you guys at another point in the future. And yes, Laurel, you're invited back. I'm sorry about our fight. Okay, I forgive you. Wait, no, wait. Actually, I can't forgive you because you haven't apologized yet. And if you don't apologize, then me as a Christian, I shouldn't have to forgive because you haven't apologized for. Or at least that's what all these Christians say now. And that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, you just forgive people. I saw that the other day on X of like, you have to ask for, be ready to forgive. Like, I think that was Askell who was like promoting that, and I've heard that from other fundies in the past. So it's just like, okay, whatever. Um, but you have to ask. Okay, so like, the guy that Jesus tells you got to forgive him 70 times 70. They have to ask each and every time, or is it just forgive? I think it's just forgive. Um, you sound like JD Vance now. I'm mad at you again. I'm mad at you again. Banned again. Okay, I'm sorry. I forgive you. I will be back at some point in the future, and I won't just talk about pizza. Okay, I'll talk about something real. I'll talk about something deep, theological, like some treasure trove, and everyone will say this is the best thing that we've ever.